Hey guys, and welcome back. I'm Dave, aka the Costume Kid, and today we're going to be making the Wasp's helmet. Alright, so the new Marvel movie Ant-Man and the Wasp came out not too long ago, and for that I made this Ant-Man helmet right here. Looks pretty cool, and your feedback on the video was very positive. A lot of you enjoyed it, and I promised in that video that as a follow-up I would now be tackling the Wasp's helmet. This one's pretty similar. It has yellow lenses instead of red. It's a little sleeker, has kind of a pointier over here. Well, here's the picture I'm gonna pop up right now, and let's get started making it. Okay, so one thing you'll notice on the Wasp's helmet right off the bat is it's a lot sleeker and it's a lot more curved than this Ant-Man helmet right here. So where I would use some cardboard and some foam core for the sides over there, this time I'm going to be using more foam. I have a couple different thicknesses. We have 5mm craft foam. This is a little bit thicker. It's about the same thickness I'd say as cardboard, but it can bend. And then some 2mm craft foam for some of the detail pieces and stuff. Alright, so I started with the side pieces. Now they have a pretty specific shape, so I didn't want to jump right into the foam or I'd probably mess it up. So instead I started with a piece of cardboard to try to make a template or something. Now I grabbed the side plate template that I used on my Ant-Man helmet to try to get an idea. They're not the exact shape, but somewhat close to each other. I traced that out, made some alterations, then made some more alterations until I got a shape I was happy with. Alright, so it's a little pointy, kind of almond shaped, which is what I'm trying to go with here. Now you could stop like I did on Ant-Man and just build the mask off of this. But instead I'm going to trace it onto the foam so it'll be a little more flexible, bendy, because it is kind of a curved, you know, kind of domed a little bit, and that's not going to work. Alright, so I've got my two side pieces traced out here. They look pretty good on the side of the head, and now, just like Ant-Man, you might be recognizing the pattern that we're just gonna skin it kind of along the side there. I don't know how else to describe it. Build upon these and make ourselves a Wasp helmet. One thing I want to point out here, if you look over at my Ant-Man mask, the side piece is a little bit smaller. They're about the same size, and it has that point, kind of the sharp corner on the side there. Alright, now that we've got our side pieces, our next step is going to be making the back of the helmet there. Now it is kind of flat instead of, you know, rounding over towards the back. Maybe that's to give it a little more pointy look like the pointed helmets you wore in the comics. But nevertheless, we're going to make it now, and since it is a little more flat with just a hint of curve, I think I'm going to make it out of cardboard actually, and then detail it with more foam. Wait, that basically describes everything I've ever built. So I took the piece of cardboard and cut it into a large strip. Now the width of this strip is going to determine how big your helmet will eventually be, so make sure it fits your head if you plan on wearing this. If you take a piece of cardboard like this that's flat, and as long as you look at where the corrugation is going, those are those faint lines you can see here or on the side, then you can take it against the end of the table or something, bend it along at each line there, and then it kind of can get a little curve for you. Now this is not perfect, it's not, you know, perfectly smooth curve, but it will help it bend a little. Next, I took the top edge of that rectangle there and cut it into kind of a triangle shape, like a point, and then I traced that whole piece onto some thin craft foam so I can add a layer of detail. Now the detail layer is really just a raised up area of the cardboard back with a distinct panel line running down the middle. This separates kind of the outer piece there and the inner. And then there's another cutout of the innermost piece, and there will be red under that later, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so I'm pretty sure you could assume this without my commentary here, but I glued the back piece onto the sides. Alright, so we've started to get the base of this helmet down now. It looks a little like something. I can show you it on, but it won't stay on because it doesn't have anything holding it together on the top here. But that's what we're gonna make now, the kind of scale-like pieces that go on the top. If you remember when I made Ant-Man last episode, he's got 4 of them that lay across the top, each one going on top of the next one. Now Wasp has 2 of them, but we're gonna make them pretty much the same way, using some thin craft foam, cutting them into strips that'll go across the top, and then to texturize them a little bit. As you see, Ant-Man's got a ton of this texture. We're gonna be using a little bit of this non-slip matte that'll give it a cool texture. Alright, so I cut 2 rectangles out of the thin craft foam. Now they're the same length as the cardboard piece and the rest of the helmet now. And the width is, I think, a little bit thicker than the Ant-Man ones because he has 4 and she has 2, so they should be about double the size if you do the math. I glued them together with barge contact cement. Now, this is the same stuff I used in the Ant-Man video, as well as a bunch of other foam videos I've done, and I go into more detail explaining what it is in those episodes. But basically, it's just a super strong glue that you spread on both surfaces, let it dry for a while and get tacky, then you can stick them together, and they bond on contact. Alright, now that we've got a few of these pieces over here made, there's the base of the helmet, of course, there's some details for the back piece, and then of course the scales for the top. Now we're ready to paint all of this. Now this is going to be bright silver, and then both the back pieces and the top are going to be black, or like a dark silver. Back inside from spray painting now, I glued the top scale pieces onto the helmet, and this thing's starting to take shape here. I glued the back foam pieces on as well and added a little piece of red duct tape for that added detail. Alright, so now that we've got this pretty cool helmet, it's got sides, it's got a back, it's got a top. What it's missing is the front. We need the faceplate to go there, and for that, I'm going to be using this bowl. Now this is a green plastic bowl. We're gonna cut a piece of this up, but you may remember I already used the other side of this bowl. As you can see, there's a big chunk taken out. That was on the Ant-Man mask to make the faceplate. I cut up that, as you can see. But now we're gonna take a bit from the other side of this bowl and make the Wasp's faceplate. So I took what's left of that bowl, placed it on the helmet, and started drawing out what I think is the best shape for that upper forehead type piece. Now, this is not the exact measurements, I don't know those, but I'm just eyeballing it, kind of a guesstimate, close to kind of could be the shape for that plate there. So yeah, now we're ready to cut it out. Remember, safety first, gotta wear these glasses. I started with cutting off that circle, like bottom of the bowl there, because there's just no way that's gonna be used on the helmet. And then once that was off, it became a lot more flexible, easier to just flatten out over the front of the mask, draw some more specific lines, some cutting areas, and then I just continued on. One thing to notice is on the Wasp's helmet, her like eyepiece, I don't know, the yellow lens is a lot bigger. It's wider than on the Ant-Man where it kind of just covers the eyes. This covers a wider area on the face. So that means cut less of the thing, the bowl. There's less faceplate if there's more lens area. Alright, so I just drew a ton of different lines on this thing. You can see my light in here, but whatever. There's a bunch on this. And some of them I'm gonna cut, some of them I'm not gonna cut, some of them I'm gonna look at, some of them I'm gonna glue. I don't know, but let's get to it. once it was all cut out, I sanded. Sanded a ton. And sanded some more. Alright, it's been a lot of sanding, but I think I figured this piece out. Definitely doesn't look like the other face piece. It is smaller, but it's also like completely a different shape. However, once you put it on here, then put it on your head, I think it looks pretty good. Next, I worked on the kind of inner eye piece. There is a black border in between the silver forehead piece and the lens area there. So I made that out of some black craft foam, just cut it to the right shape, or what I think is the right shape. There's no actual dimensions here. Alright, with the start of our faceplate finished here, we're going to start building more on the bottom part of this that'll cover the nose and the mouth area. Now this, I think I'm going to use just some more craft foam. Now on Ant-Man, of course, you can use cardboard here, but her pieces on this are a little bit smaller and more intricate, so I think craft foam. Alright, I've got a lot of little pieces together here now. It's some weird like Darth Vader mask, but let me take it off. I'll try to show you what's happening. Whoa, it's like a bat. But enough talking here. So it's kind of confusing, but I just pretty much looked at the picture and eyeballed a bunch of pieces. It is symmetrical from side to side, but most of these are craft foam. These are little pieces of a foam core, kind of shaved off half the side so they're thinner. But now we're ready to paint them. They're either going to be silver or black, so some of them are glued together, some of them are just taped together because, well, they're going to be different colors. But yeah, this just took a while of just trial and error. But I'm pretty happy with it. Once it's painted, it'll look good. I'm also going to paint the green piece while I'm at it. Once again, back inside from spray painting, and I'm gluing the lens border onto the forehead plate. To make the lens on the front of Wasp's mask here, I'm going to be using a piece of yellow lighting gel. This is just like the red stuff I used on Ant-Man, except, well, it's yellow. To be completely honest with you, I'm not sure if this piece is gonna stretch far enough and hold together once I try to put this on, but we'll see. All right, here. I'll squat down so you guys can see. First test, this might completely bust at these seams, but that's completely okay. It is foam, so it'll stretch and fit just fine. Oh boy, oh yeah. Well, that works rather nicely. The last thing to do is the mouth circle piece here, and then the antennas and some other details and stuff. This will be good to go. Alright, so, like I said, the last few details here, we need a mouthpiece. Now, when I made Ant-Man over here, I used the bottom of, it's actually sitting right down here, this cup. You could use a cap to a spray paint bottle or something that would work just to put kind of a mouthpiece there. This time, I'm just going to cut it out of a few discs of 5mm craft foam and glue it on there. Should work just as well. The reason when I use this cup here, the inside of it would kind of hurt your mouth a little bit. So, foam. Everything's solved with foam. About that size. So I can still use this to, you know, trace the size I want my circle to be. Can you even tell that there's a circle there? I don't know if the camera's picking that up. Probably not enough. I then cut an additional disc, a smaller one, on an angle there, just to add a little more detail to the front of the mouth circle. Yep. Once they were both glued together, I did have to cut a couple of small holes in the front, both for detail and so you can actually breathe a little bit through it. I just painted it silver and glued it in place. Alright, with the front of this mask pretty much finished, I'm very happy with how this came together here. It pulled together and I'm really happy with it. Now the best part about this all being foam is that it can still bend and stretch a little while you get it on. With this being plastic and this being cardboard, could not stretch. A much bigger pain to put on. But if you stretch it a little, boom, slips on just like that and it stays on. I'm very happy with how this is looking right now. My voice might sound a little weird, I'm not even sure. But the next step is just the details on the side, and that includes the antennas. The first step to bulking up the sides and starting on making the antennas is I cut a nice big circle about the size of a tape roll. After that, I proceeded to draw and cut out the basic shape that I think the antennas are going to look like. Alright, so I think I figured out how these antennas are gonna work. So here's these two, and they go on the sides, and they're pretty cool. You look pretty cool right there. Now we're gonna glue onto these circles here, which will in turn glue onto the helmet. But right now, we're gonna spray paint these. Silver. Actually, half of it stays black, so I masked off that side and then painted it. Whoa, it got dark. Can you even see what's going on? The final step is to add some Sharpie lines and details in some areas, and then this helmet is done. Alright, this helmet turned out really, really awesome. I'll try it on for you guys. Boom! This thing, it's pretty cool. Now, it's not perfectly accurate, you know, people are gonna call the sides too flat and too pointy up here, but I don't care, you know, it was a lot of fun to make. It looks great next to my original Ant-Man helmet, and I could not be happier. So typically, you know, I wear the same shirt in my entire episode, you know, I'll wear it the entire time, but it's never done in one day. Like this Ant-Man helmet took like a week or two of work to make, but I just kept the same shirt on each time I filmed. Today's is an exception. This actually took me a day to make. I woke up bright and early. I woke up early in the summer to start making this. I started at like 9 a.m. and now it's, I don't have a watch, just shy of about midnight now, but it's done. And I am very pleased with the final result. Here, it's my reference picture. You put them next to each other. I mean, that's pretty cool. Oh, by the way, if you take your reference picture, it's a piece of white paper. You shove it on the inside. This is what I did with Ant-Man over there, so you can see it. You can see the lens color. There you go. If you're just displaying it, put it like that. Very cool. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends. If you have any questions on this build, as well as your requests for future costumes or props, make sure to leave them in the comments section down below. And as always, subscribe to this channel for new tutorial videos every other week. Alright, I gotta get out of here. Time to fight some crime. You're home with me.